The misspelling of Charlie Schulz's name was apparently a common underlying bother. It seems that Schulz was the often misspelled version of the true family name. Nothing was changed. Mandela effect people are just experiencing the mix-up of the past and remembering it as something definitive. There are many examples of this in the archives. I'll post a few here. First, let's examine the popularity of the correct and incorrect surname and also offer the reason for the mix-up. Just like with the Berenstein case, we can see the statistics for these two surnames. The correct surname Schulz has a massive global incidence of over 252,000. So this makes the name common. The incorrect surname Schulz is also very popular at over 219,000 global incidence. At numbers this large, the statistical difference of around 32,000 is not significant. However, one must also take note of geographic prevalence. As it turns out, Schulz is a very popular surname in the United States. Schulz is popular and dense in Germany. In addition, we are dealing with the expectation of common surname endings. The TZ ending is most popular not only in comparison to their similar surname counterparts lacking TZ, but also overall in the United States. The brain expects to see TZ. It is a bias that resolves itself to salience by mentally injecting TZ where it is lacking. Now, let's look at examples of the mix-up. In an article from as far back as 1975, we see a great example of the common Schulz misspelling, an instance of the debunking simultaneous evidence, and generally absent-mindedness in yet another human task. The title of the article contains the incorrect spelling, and right there in the body the name is spelled correctly, this being like the other name examples we saw earlier on, such as Summers. There's no parallel reality shift, but more oversight. In a survey assessing if sitcoms were commonly better known than politics, Charlie Schulz was humorously confused with U.S. Secretary of State George Schultz. The author of the article, as seen here, then intentionally pointed out that those few votes for the name Charlie Schulz were spelled correctly, playfully insinuating this seemingly common issue with Charlie Schulz's name. In fact, daughter of Charlie Schulz, Jill Schulz, who had developed a skating career, described how the misspelling of their family name was a common frustration. She would often find her name spelled Schultz, the common misspelling. You can see why she was frustrated, since even up to 2000, for example, they still made errors with her name, and once again we observe simultaneous evidence. Within the body of this article, the author skims along spelling the Schulz name correctly, and suddenly, once more, Jill Schultz strikes again. As a light-hearted anecdote, the very Charlie Brown crew, putting together a Christmas special in 1995 no less, even botches name in the credits. One of the main crew members describing the story says, "It was a good thing Charlie Brown's boss, Schulz, wasn't there during that time in the cutting room getting the special together." Talk about human error. For the sake of clarity, here are a couple of copyright records from the U.S. Copyright Office. 2 search strings were used here. One was Charlie Schulz, which produces records that were essentially recorded by the author or representation. Note to the surname was spelled correctly. The other search string, Charlie Schultz, produced results of others recording bodies of work or derivative work that needed accreditation to Charlie Schulz for whatever connection to their work. These people recorded the surname incorrectly. 2 individuals also stand out in the database, a Philip Schultz and a Barbara Schultz, to prevent the assumption that they are children or relatives to Mr. Schulz. While both have work related to Mr. Schulz, they are not blood relatives, but coincidentally have similar surnames, ironically, as the common misspelled version of Schulz. You're mistaken if you think it was Schulz at any point in time.